Good morning, team. Can you guys hear me? People who are in online. If yes, please type Y on your chat windows. Okay. Now in today's session, right? Okay, so now today's session, right? We are going to quickly check that what we are going to do as part of our Git. Okay. And here, right, we are going to learn how you are going to reset, how you are going to revert, and how we are going to stash, and what is rebase, and what is rebase. And then we are going to see what is PR process. What is PR process? So, to quickly recap that what we have delivered in yesterday's session, right? So yesterday, right, we try to understand that what is GitHub and what is Git. Okay, and GitHub is nothing but what we are actually calling it as a source code repository. Okay, and we have a lot of source code repositories in the market. We have a lot of source code repositories in the market. That means it means like if you see, right, your GitHub is a source code repository. You have GitLab, it is a source code repository. We have Bitbucket, it is also an example for source code repository. And then we also have Azure DevOps, which is also an example for your source code repository. So these all are nothing but some examples of your source code repositories. And then if I need to interact with the GitHub or with some source code repository, okay, we need to use one client. That client is nothing but Git. Now under to this, right, whenever I'm going to use this Git client, whenever I'm going to use this particular Git client, it can be used in two ways. One is you can use it from command line interface. Okay. And the second one is nothing but you can also use Git GUI, graphical user interface. Now, if you are using it from command line interface, right, then we are actually calling it as an Git bash. That is what we are actually calling it as an Git bash. And another important thing here is, so if I need to practice it, see, normally, right, when you go through any tutorials or any videos, right, any videos on Git, right, they will explain you different procedures. Okay, means let us say if I want to achieve one functionality, right, I have different ways to do it. So we are going to see one of the way that how we are going to use this. So we are going to see one of the way that how we are going to use this Git. So it's like, see, what I mean to say here is, let me just give you an example. Let us say I want to create a branch. Okay, I have two ways to do it. One way is I can create in my local and I can push that to remote. Second way is I can create that in my remote and I can bring that to my local. See, normally, right, the best approach is always you need to create that in remote and bring that to your local. Okay, bring that to your local. Anyway, we'll get into those lines. So first, let us quickly recap. So first one is I can if I need to practice the Git commands. Okay, Git commands. What first thing is I need to have a repository. And then I need to install Okay, Git, okay, on my local mission. Okay, so these are nothing but the two prerequisites that what you need to do. If I need to practice Git. Now, first one is if I need to create, okay, if I need to create a repo in, okay, a repository in GitHub. First step here is I need to create an account with GitHub. I need to create an account with GitHub. When I want to create an account, right, you can use your Gmail ID to create a account with your GitHub repository. You can create it using your Gmail ID. You can create an account with your Gmail ID with your GitHub repository. Now, second one, how do we access GitHub? How do we access GitHub? So it is very simple. You just go to your Google Chrome. Okay, you just go to your Google Chrome and just click here. Just I'm signing out to quickly check. Just type GitHub in your Google. So you will get a link. This link is nothing but what we are actually calling it as an GitHub repository. What we are actually calling it as an GitHub repository. I need to sign out. Sign out from all the accounts. Now if you go back and if you type GitHub, you will get a link. If you click on to that particular link, right, it redirects to this particular page. You need to enter your email ID at the rate of gmail.com and click on sign up. So you can log into your GitHub repository. Okay, once you have created an account, now the second step here is you need to log in. So how do we log in means you click on sign in, you will get this page. You just enter your email ID and just enter your password so you can log into your GitHub repository. Now, as I said you right, now I'm able to access this GitHub remote repository. Now I'm able to access this GitHub repository. Now under to this particular GitHub, right, I can create multiple repositories to store and maintain my code. Now, second step here is in yesterday's session, right? We had already seen how you are going to create a repository in GitHub. How we are going to create a repository in GitHub. So very simple. Now what you need to do is once you log in, right, you will be into this particular page. You will have a new button. Click on new button. It will redirect to this particular page. It is going to redirect to this particular page. Now here, right, you can give any name. Let us say yesterday I had given ABC 123, right? Today I am giving XYZ 123. Okay. And you can say this is for our test practice. Okay, this is for our test practice. And you can select public or private. Public means anyone can access it. Private means you need to give access. That who needs to access this particular repository. And if you add readme, it will create a repository with readme. So I am selecting readme. Okay. And then I am going here and I am clicking on create repository. It has created a repository with a readme file. And another important thing here is this readme file extension is .md. .md means it is marked down. Means it's like anyone who is trying to use the code that has been updated under to this particular repository. If you want to tell them that how they can use it, you can write that steps under to your readme file. You can write those steps under to your readme file. Now I had created a repository, right? Now second step here is now I need to start using. Means now if I need to use that repository, as I said you right, whenever you're going to create a repository with a readme file, Okay, and if you are going to create a repository without readme file, right? Without readme file, but the process is different. Means how you are going to use that, right? That process is different. So we will see both. Okay, first with readme file, I had created a repository. Now what you are going to do here is you will go to your local machine. Okay, you are going to your local machine, and what you have done here is you went to desktop. Okay, and I'm creating a new folder. I'm creating a new folder. Now I'm creating that folder name as git underscore repo with readme. I'm just giving name it as underscore readme. Now you need to go to that particular path. You need to go to that particular path. Now once you had created a repository here, right? Once you had created a repository here, right? Now the next step here is you need to install git client. And that client, you can access it from command prompt. We call it as git bash. And that client, you can also access it from your GUI, what we actually call it as graphical user interface. What we actually call it as graphical user interface. Now, if I need to download Git, okay, now simply go to your Google and just type here, okay, and just type here Git, okay, just type here Git. What you need to do here is you need to type here Git and press enter. So you will get a link. If you click on that particular link, right, you will be redirecting to this particular page. Here you will have downloads. So click on downloads based upon your operating system. Now let us say if you are using Mac, you need to download this. If you are using Windows, if you are using Linux, based upon your operating system, you need to download your Git bash or Git client. Now since I am using Windows machine, so what I am doing here is I am just clicking on Windows, so it will redirect to this particular page. It is going to redirect to this particular page. Now here, right, one step, if you are a Windows users, right, what you need to do here is you need to just go here and open any specific folder and right click on your PC and click on properties. It will show you what type of machine it is. My machine is 64-bit. So you need to install 64-bit Git client. Now what you need to do, again, you need to go back and you need to click on 64-bit. It will download a .exe file. It will download a .exe file. See, whenever you want to install something on Windows, it will actually download a .exe file. If you double click on it, right, next, it will automatically install on your machine. Now the next step here is, after installation, you need to check. How do we check? Whether Git has properly installed on your machine. Whether Git has properly installed on your machine. Very simple logic here is you can directly go to your desktop, right click. Okay, you can directly go to your desktop and you can right click and you can click on show more options. Then you need to see these two options, open Git GUI, open Git bash here. If you are able to see these two options, means Git has been installed on your machine. Git has been installed on your machine. Now the next step, now I have installed, right? Now I had also created a remote repository. See, first step is I had installed, and second one is I had also created a remote repository with a name called XYZ123. Now I need to update some code here. See, yesterday, right, I had created a Maven project and I have updated here. Okay, I had created a Maven project and I have updated here. It is not required that you need to create only a project. You can also practice by creating a folder. Okay, you can also, for your practice, right, what you can do here is you can simply create a folder, okay, with some files, and you can practice your Git commands, because there may be few people who don't know, who does not have knowledge on Maven or this one. So if you want to practice it, right, it is not required that you need to create a project itself. You can just create a folder, you create some files and you can practice it. So now what we are going to do here is, now if you go back to the folder that you had created on your desktop, Git repo readme file. Now the first command, okay, now the first command is like, see, now we are going to practice Git commands. Now we are going to practice Git commands. The first command is nothing but clone. Okay, what does clone does? It is going to copy the code from remote to local repository. Remote to local repository. Now here, right, you need to understand what is this local repository. Okay, what is this? Here you need to understand what is this local repo. The folder, okay, the folder which you are making to copy your code. Okay, I'll tell you, means if I need to create any folder as my local repository, right, I need to run git init command. Okay, that is one way. Second way is if you directly clone your repository to that particular folder, right, that folder will act as a local repository. So we'll see both. For example, first with the readme file. So now this is my project which has readme file. Now if I need to clone the remote to my local, you will have an option called code here. You will have an option called code. Okay, now what you need to do is you need to click on to that particular code. You will see HTTPS, SSH, Git CLA. You have multiple ways to clone it. You use HTTPS, you copy it. Now you go to your local folder which you had created in your local machine. Right click in that particular folder and open git bash here. And open git bash here. It means if you're opening git bash here, right, see it is automatically picking that particular path. Under to desktop, under to git repo readme, I had opened this particular git bash. I had opened that particular git bash. If you see, right, I had opened in that particular folder. Now what you need to do is simply I need to run git clone and I need to copy that particular URL which I have copied. Copy this and go back to your git bash and just paste that here. So this is nothing but the git URL which you want to clone to your local machine. Now if you press enter, it will automatically bring that complete code which is present in remote. So what is present in remote? We have only one file called readme. So that file will be copied to that file, right? You will get a copy, means clone means it is like a copy. It does not delete the actual content. It actually copies that content to a different location. Since we are copying it from remote to local, right? It means if I need to do that, right, we need to use clone. Now, once you had cloned it, right, now if you go to that particular folder, see now you can see that repository name XYZ. And if you open it, you can see only one file. What is that file? Readme. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just to practice my commands. It can be a code file, TXT file, Java file, Python file, whatever the file, right? Git, what for we actually use Git? So very simple. Now they will ask you why we need to use this Git or source code repositories. Why we need to use this Git or this particular source code repositories to maintain our code. So the first step here is we are going to store or maintain code in common location. Okay, second, we are going to achieve team collaboration. Okay, team collaboration means, see, everybody will be in sync with that particular repository which is stored in local. And then it helps us to track the changes. And then it maintains versioning. It maintains versioning. Okay, so why I'm going to use this means, see, one is like I'm going to maintain my code in a common location, what we actually call it as a placeholder. Now second one is, which is nothing but what we're actually calling it as a repository. Second one is a team collaboration. Third one is to track changes. Fourth one is versioning. Fourth one is versioning. Okay, and now if you see here, right, now you can create any file. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to this particular folder, go to new, and I'm going to create a folder. Let us say folder name, right? I'm simply saying folder 001. Okay. Now under to this particular folder, I'm creating some text files. I'm creating some text files. Let us say this file name is sample. Okay, this file name is sample1.txt. In the same way, right, I'm opening this particular file and I'm just adding some text. I have just added some text and save it. I have just added some text and I am saving it. Okay, and I am saving it. Okay, so I have just added some text. So I'm copying the same file for multiple times. So this file is nothing but, okay, this file is nothing but sample2. And again, I am copying another file and this file is nothing but, if you select this and rename it, this is nothing but a sample3. So I have 3 files under to this particular folder. Now I need to update this particular project to my remote. Now I need to update this particular project to my remote. So how do we do that? So it's very simple. Now again, you need to go back to your Git bash. Now I need to go to my folder. Means my code, right? Whatever the folder, whatever the files that I had created, right? I had created under to this particular XYZ 1, 2, 3. So if you don't go here, right? Don't go to this particular path, right? See, it is you are still into this particular folder. If I need to redirect to this particular path, I need to use CD and I need to give that particular folder name, project name. So if you press enter, right, see now it was into main. Main indicates it is one of the branch in your Git. Main, this is also called as master branch. This is also called as master branch. Now if you see, right, now if I say git status, the first command is nothing but git status. It is going to show me all the untracked folders and files that got created. So the first command is nothing but what status. So what it does, it will list all the untracked and tracked files. Okay, it will list all the untracked and as well as tracked files. Now again, under to untracked or tracked, right? Again, those files have 2 stages. Okay, staged and unstaged. But anyway, before getting into that, right? If it is untracked, right? Again, that file has, if it has a tracked or untracked, right? That file can be in these whatever status. It can be a new file, it can be a deleted file, or it can be a modified file. Now again, under to these statuses, right? Again, it has been categorized into 2 types. One is nothing but staged, or what we actually call it as unstaged. Okay, staged and as well as unstaged. So if it is staged, right, then what it is? If it is staged, right, then it will appear in red. It will appear in green. If it is unstaged, right, it will appear in red. It is going to appear in red. So I'm simply saying that as staged and as well as unstaged. Now if you see here, right, now if I run, right, what it is an untracked file and it is appeared in red. Now if I want to push that code to remote, whenever I'm planning to move code, from local to remote, whenever I'm planning to move my code from local to remote, we actually do that in 3 steps. So first step is we need to add. Second step is we need to commit. Third step is we need to push. Okay, so you need to understand it. So these are the 3 commands that you need to use to push your code to your remote repository. What happens if I say add? The files, okay, the files will be moved to staged. Okay, staged. What it means? It will be moved to green. It will be moved to green. And here, right, whenever you are going to use the add, right, you can move, you can move multiple files, or you can move a single file by file. Means you can move from unstaged, right? You can move from unstaged to staged, unstaged to staged. If I want to move it, right, I can do that in two ways. One way is I can do that in two ways. I can do that in two ways. So one way is you can do multiple files at a time, or else you can do a single file, or else you can also do file by file, file by file. Now what I'm doing is, first I'm showing you an example. Now I want to move all the files. I can simply say git add star. Git add star. Star means I want to move all unstaged files to staged. Now if you again go and check git status, see there are 3 files under to that particular folder 1. And I want to move all the files from unstaged, means red to green, staged. Okay, staged. Now if I want to commit, so what is commit? Commit means adding unique message or ID to that particular, means from local to remote. So what I'm doing, I'm adding some message. So let us say I'm adding some message as the first, okay, commit. Or else you can give, let us say COMMIT commit 1. Okay, commit Q I had written. Okay. Now if you see here, right, now if you go, once you commit it, right, if you go and if you check the status, you can't see any file. It means they are ready to push. They are ready to push. Whenever you are doing commit, right, the green color files will be changed to white. White. It means they are ready to push. Now if I write git push, what happens? Now if I write git push, that the code will be pushed from local to remote. That code will be pushed from local to remote. Now if you go to your remote repository and if you refresh it, see now you can see folder 1 got created. Under to that, right, you got these files, sample 1, sample 2 and sample 3. And sample 3. And if you click on it, right, you can see the content. So this is the content of sample 1, this is the content of sample 2. Because I copied the same content, so it has the same content. Okay, so this is your first step that you need to remember. How you need to, means whenever you had been tagged to any project, first, right, they will give you git URL. In that URL, right, you have code of that particular project. So what you need to do, you need to create a local folder and you need to clone it. So it will bring all the code from your remote to your local. And the folder to which you are bringing your remote code to local, right, that folder will act as local repository. That folder will act as local repository. Is this part clear? See, there is nothing that you need to remember as part of commit. Okay, very simple. If I say commit means I am sending some data from local to remote. That data, right, whatever that I'm sending, right, I should be in a position to identify it. Okay, means for that, right, I need to add some identification. That identification will be added using commit. What now? It can be a message. It will be a unique ID that will be added to that particular commit. If you want to see, right, what is that unique ID that has been added to that particular commit, you need to write git log. You need to write git log. If you see here, right, see, this is nothing but okay, unique ID that has been done for commit. See, initially the first commit is like you are bringing what, and the second one, right, what you pushed from your local to remote. Your local to remote. So every commit will get some unique ID. See, this is the unique ID. So this is the unique ID that has been generated for commit. And this is the message that what you have added to that particular commit. So whatever that you're sending from local to remote, right, to identify that code, right, what you're sending it, we are adding a unique ID for it. That is nothing but your commit. That is nothing but your commit. Okay. Now the second procedure. Now the second procedure is, now again I'm going back here. Okay, again I'm going back to home and I'm clicking on repositories and I'm clicking on new and now I'm creating a new repository. Now again I'm creating a new repository. Now let us say my repository is QWE123. QWE123. So this is also a test repo. For testing, right? I'm just created that repo. It is also a public repo, but I'm not adding readme file. Now I'm not adding any readme file and I'm clicking on create repository and I'm creating on create repository. See, now also it will create a repository, but now you don't have any files in that particular repository. Previously, you have only a readme file that got created under to that particular repository. But now you don't have any file in this particular repository. Now the process is different. That how you prepare your local folder as repository and how do you push your code. How do you push your code? For that, right, it is not required to remember the commands. It will automatically give you the commands that what you need to run from your local. It will automatically give you the commands that what you need to run from your local to make your local folder as repository. To make your local folder as a repository. Now what I'm going to do here is, I'm just going to desktop and I'm creating a new folder. Okay, now I'm creating that particular folder as git repo underscore without files. I'm just creating without files. It means I had created a repository. Now in that, right, I don't have any files. Previously, right, I have with readme file. Okay, so I have directly cloned it. I executed git clone and I directly executed it. So it brought the code to my local machine. But now this repository, right, in local. Okay, now if you go to your remote, right, you don't see any URL through which you can clone this remote to your local, because in remote you don't have any files. You don't have any files. So first I need to create my local repository. I need to create my local folder as local git repository. So if I need to create it, right, so first command is you need to run this command git init. Git init means git initialization. So now copy this command and go to your git bash. Now go to that particular folder, right click, show more options, open git bash here. So now I have opened this git bash. Now I had opened this particular git bash under to this particular folder, git repo without files. Now first command is I need to run git init. So I am writing git init. Okay, I am writing git init. See, it is showing initialized empty git repository. Now it made that local folder as repository. It has made that particular local folder as repository. Is this part clear? Now, what we are going to do is, see, it is showing that in which you are. I am into master branch. Even though if I say master, or even though if I say main, right, both are same. It means it is your main trunk of your tree. It is your main branch of your tree. Okay, so now if you see, right, now I got this, right. Now second step. Now second step is I want to add a file. I want to add some file. So you can add a file, or else what you can do is you can right click and you are going to create a new, and you can create some sample folder here. Sample folder here. Now let us say again I am going to create a folder with a name called 002. Okay, now under to this particular folder, right click, go to new, and I am going to create a file. Okay, now let us say that file name is sample11.txt. I had created a file with a name called sample11.txt and I have added some text into it. I have added some text into it and closed it. Now, if you go here, right now, if I want to add this particular folder to that repo, now what I need to do, I need to go back to my git bash and I need to say git add star. Instead of giving a single file name, right? If I say star, what it means? It is going to add all the files. So I said git add star. Now if you go and check the git status, what happens? It is showing that one file is in green color. If it is green means it is in staged. It is staged. Now again go back and see what is the next command I want to run. I should run commit. See, same. The perspective is If you directly clone it, it will automatically make that particular local folder as local repository, Git repository. If you don't have any file in remote, then we need to first create a folder, make it as a repository, and I want to move files from local to remote. How do we move? Add, commit, and push. Add, commit, and push it. So if you see right now, second step is I'm committing it. Now, once I have added it right, now my second step is I'm committing it. If I commit, what happens? Green color file will be changed to white color. White color. Now, if you see right, what is the branch that I am in? Master. But I want to rename this particular branch with my own name. Let us say my project or main. I want to rename that master branch with some other name. Then I need to use this command git branch -m main. So if you see here, right? Now I am running it. I'm copying it and I'm pasting it. Now what's happened? Your branch name. Change it to main. Now again I want to change back to master. Again I want to change back to master. It is like renaming your branch. It helps us to rename your branch. I want to put master only. In previous example we had seen with main, right? Now I want to put my branch name as master only. Then it is not required to run this particular command. Now I need to First, I need to tell my local repository. See, now it is very simple. Here you need to understand this. See, now here, this is your local mission. Okay, and this is nothing but your remote mission. Okay, this is nothing but your local mission. And this is nothing but your remote repository. Okay, remote repository, which is nothing but what we are actually calling it as a GitHub. Now under the GitHub, right, I can create multiple repositories. I can create multiple repositories. But in my folder, right, in my local, right, I had created one folder and I made this particular folder as local repository. Local repository. And I have added some files here. But when I am moving these files from local to remote, I should tell to which repository it should update. See, we have a lot of repositories in GitHub, but I should tell my local repository that when I am pushing it, right, push this to XYZ123 repository, or push this to ABC123 repository, or push this to QWE123 repository. I should tell to which repository I need to push it. So for that, right, whatever that you see in your remote, right, that is nothing but repo. That is called as origin. Origin. So if you see here, right, I need to run this command, remote add origin, git remote add origin. It means I am telling my local repository, whenever I'm pushing some code, you push that code to this particular repository with name QWE123. So I need to copy this and I need to run that on my local. And I need to run that on my local machine. So it will set up. Now this repository will be set as a remote repository to your local. Now if I want to push my code, I need to use this git push -u origin main. But do we have main? I have not created any main, right? So you can directly use what now? Instead of main, right? You should say master. So what I need to do here, instead of main, I'm saying it as master. So now my code will be pushed to my remote repository. Now if you go back to your repository and if you refresh it, now you can see that your folder 2 got updated here and it has one file with name called sample11.txt. Sample11.txt. So here, right, means if I need to summarize it, they will ask you what for we will use init. Because if I want to make any of my local folder as local git repository, I need to run this init. Is this part clear? And another important thing here is they will ask you what for we will use git add remote origin. Okay, origin. And you need to give your repository URL here. This command helps to tag local repository to specified remote repository to specified remote remote repository. Is this part clear? Now see, two ways. If you are creating it for the first time, you need to create your local folder as repository, and then you need to add, commit, and assign a remote repository URL as an origin, and then you need to push it, If you already have code in remote, you can simply clone it. Wherever you are cloning it, right, that folder will defaultly act as local Git repository. Local Git repository. Is this part clear? Okay, local Git repository. Now I have some code in remote. Now you need to practice your basic commands. Now what are those commands means? Say first command, it's like a clone anyway. It is like a copy. And then if I want to take latest code from remote to local, what it is? Okay, if I want to take latest code from remote to local, then it is pull. Okay, then I need to use pull. If I need to push my code from local to remote, what I need to do? That can be done in 3 steps. First I need to add, then I need to commit, and then I need to push. Okay, and if I need to check the status of the particular files, status, git status. Okay, and what if I want to, okay, if I want to check in which branch I am, I have a command called branch. And then if I want to check what changes that I have done, I need to use diff. Is this part clear? See, now what I am doing here is, now very simple. Now let us say I went to my local and I am doing some changes in this particular file. Now let us say I have removed this line and I am adding some new lines like this. Okay, I have added some new lines like this and I closed it. Okay. Now if you again go back to your git bash and if you type git status, what it is showing? This file got modified. It means existing file got modified. Now let us assume that if I am adding a new file here, let us say function F2, and I am changing that particular file name as file12. Now if you again go back to your git and if you type, now if you see, right, I have 2 files. One is modified file and another one is untracked. It means it is new file. Now if I want to add file by file, I need to copy this particular file. Let us say I want to push only the modified file. I need to copy this and I need to add this particular file here. And then it means only that particular file can be moved to a remote repository. If you see, right, whatever it is in green, it has moved to staged. Okay, and then whatever it is in red, it was like still untagged. I don't want to push that code to remote. So now what I am doing, I am simply saying git commit -m updated changes. I am giving some text, updated changes. Why it is showing means I forgot to put the double quotes. Okay, and then I am saying git pushed. So which file will be pushed to remote? Only sample11. So if you go to remote and if you refresh, right, and if you see now the changes got appended, new data and as well as whatever you removed, right, that got whatever added to your remote repository. Now if you come to local and if you again see git status, still one file is pending, which is a new file. Now if I want to add all files, what I need to do? Git add star. And if I say git after adding it, right, again if you go and if you check git status, it has changed to green. It means it is in staged. Now if I want to push that, first I need to add git commit -m. I'm saying like 22. I just given it as 22, or else you can say it as new file. Now if I say git push, what happens? It will be pushed to your remote. Now if you go and if you see in your remote, now if you go and if you see in your remote, now if you go and if you see in your remote, you got two files. You got two files. Hello? In class. So if you see here, right? Now whatever the files, right, that you push it from local to remote, right? That has been pushed to your remote. That has been pushed to your remote. Is this part clear? Now the second step. Okay, now the second step. For example, now I went to my folder and I had opened some file. Okay. Now in this file, right, let us say I removed these two lines and I have added a new line here. And as well as I have added a new line here. And as well as I have added a new line here. Save it. Now if you go and if you see here, right? Now if you go and if you see here, right? If I say git status, what it will show? It will show you the modified file. But in that modified file, what lines you changed? If I want to check, right, then I need to use git diff. And you need to copy the file for which file you want to see the changes. For which file you want to see the changes. So if you see, right, these are the lines that got changed. If you see anything in red, right, it means it got removed. If you see anything in green, right, it means it is the new line or something got added to that particular line. Something got added to that particular line. Is this part clear? Now again, see, whenever you are checking git diff, right, see, you will be not under to your actual git bash. See, here it is showing column. Here it is showing column. So if you want to come out of it, you need to press WQ. WQ. Q means quit. Working directory quit. So it came out of that particular. You need to type WQ. So for example, whenever I type gitf, right, see, now I am not into git. I can't run my git commands here. I want to come out. I can simply say WQ. It will come out from that particular difference of that particular file. Now, if I want to add that change, now what I need to do again? I need to add git add. You can simply say star, and then I need to add commit. Let us say I am saying that changes, and then I want to push it. So what I need to do? I need to use git push. That code will be moved from local to remote. That code will be moved to local to remote. See, this is very, very important because it's like, see, these right, you do on daily basis. See, every day you will take latest code and you will do some changes, and again you will push back that code to that particular remote repository. So this part is very, very important. Now let us say you already have some code in your local machine. Okay, but there is some user who has changed some code in remote. Now if you want to know, there is some other user who has also taken latest code to his machine. He done his changes and he pushed it back to remote repository. Now, whatever the changes he pushed to remote, right, that changes are not on your machine. Now, I need to bring those changes from remote to local. Now, what is the command? Pull. Git pull. So, to understand that, right, just click on edit. Now, what I am doing here is I am writing here test. I am writing here test. I am writing here test. And I am just committing. Normally, right, in your real practice, you will not have access to do changes directly on remote repository. Okay, let us assume that there is other user who brought that code, done changes, and again push it to remote. Now those changes are nothing but the first three lines. But these three lines, right, I will not have in my local machine. If you go and if you see, right, what is the code that we have? Yes, WF is nothing but the code. Now what I need to do if I want to bring the remote changes to my local, what I need to do? I need to write git pull. I need to write git pull. So it is showing that three new lines got added and it got added to your local repo. Now if you see, right, now from your local repo, if you go and if you open it, see, now you can see the new files that got added. Now you can see that the new files that got Added. It's very simple. Any change in your remote, if you want to bring that to local, what you need to do? Git pull. What you need to do? Git pull. Is this one clear? Now, second concept. Now, the second concept here is, now the next concept here is branching. Now, the next concept here is branching. See, first try to understand. Now, let us say I have a team, and let us say in my team I have 4 testers. Let us say I have 4 testers are developers. I have 4 testers are developers. Okay, now each resource, each resource will write some code, right? Each resource will write some code. Each resource will write some code. So whenever they are writing some code, right, and they need to push that to remote, they need to push that to remote repository. They need to push that to remote repository. Means whatever the code that I write, I need to push that to remote. I need to push that to remote. In yesterday's session, right, I explained you the CI/CD. In yesterday's session, right, I explained you the CI/CD architecture. Now, in this architecture, right, now if you see here, now let us say these are nothing but your automation testers. Let us say 4 testers are there, right? Now these are nothing but your 4 testers. 1, 2, 3, and the next one is nothing but 4. These are nothing but the 4 automation testers. So everybody will write some automation scripts. So they need one framework. They had written some they had written some code by following some framework. Let us assume that this is nothing but a framework. Now let us say this is nothing but a framework, and these are nothing but like it is like tester 1, comma tester 2, comma tester 3, comma tester 4. There are 4 testers. So whatever the code that they are writing it, right, now they need to push that particular code from local to remote. Now local to remote. Now this remote is nothing but, let us assume that this is nothing but our GitHub, and we have a repository called QWE123. QWE123. Okay. Now this repository has only master branch. Okay. BRANCH branch. Now, as I said, right, as part of our day-to-day CI/CD, we will have a CI tool. We will have a CI tool from where you can create some jobs which are nothing but scheduled. Means it's like every day night 9 o'clock it will run that job. Let us say every day at morning 4 o'clock it should run that particular job. It's like scheduled. It's like how you set up your alarm in your mobile, right? In the same way, I can schedule some job for a specified time. So at that time, right, without manual intervention, it will automatically run that particular job. So if I need to schedule it, right, I actually use this CI tools. It can be Jenkins, Bamboo, Go.cd, Excel Release. We have a lot of tools in the market. Let us put that side. It helps us to schedule a job. So if you are scheduling it for morning 4 o'clock, right, at morning 4 o'clock, it will automatically run that particular job. Now let us say the job that what I had created, right, it will pull the code from this particular Git repository. Means in that job, right, I had written such a way that it should pull latest code from Git repository. And in that Git repository, right, I have master branch or main branch. It should use that master or main branch code, and it should run those test cases on a remote mission. It can be an AWS mission, or it can be an Azure mission. It can be in Cloudis, okay, or it can be in Sauce Lab. We have a lot of clouds. It can be a browser stack. We have a lot of clouds in the market. It actually runs that particular scripts on that particular cloud, and it finally gives you results back to this particular Jenkins. Now these results can be downloaded by these particular testers. What they can do, they can download, or they can directly check by logging to that particular Jenkins server, and they can check the results. Now, when they are checking that results, they will analyze it. What they will do, they will analyze it. When after downloading, right, they will analyze it. They will analyze it. If the analyzation right, let us say if when they are analyzing it right, if they see some failures, okay, if they see some failures with respect to script, okay, that should be fixed by automation tester. Okay, if they see any issue where your automation script itself is not properly working, due to that you say you had seen some failure, then it will be fixed by automation testers. That will be fixed by automation testers. Now let us say your script is working fine, but application is not working. Then you should raise it as a defect. It is means this is one, and the next one is then you should raise that as a defect. Then you need to raise that as a defect and assign a developer for it, for fixing that particular defect, So after analysis, right, it can be in two parts. It can be a defect or it can be an automation script issue. So if you see, right, this cycle that whatever you're seeing, every day automation testers will write some new scripts. And midnight, right, at 9 p.m., it will take a code from Git and it will run it on cloud and you will get results. Okay. And this cycle, right, every day it happens. So we are configuring this Jenkins, right? This Jenkins will take latest code from master. Take latest code from master or main branch. Now let us say everybody in your team, these 4 members, right, they started pushing new code to master. They also don't know whatever the code that they had written, right, it is working in local. But in remote, right, whether it is working or not, they also don't know. So they are pushing that to master. Then automatically, let us say every day it is running around, let us say first day, right, it is executing around 200 cases. Okay, now next day, right, these automation testers are added new 10 cases. So now next day it will be executed 210 cases, right? But with these 10 cases, whatever the code changes that you had done for these 10 cases, if it has been changed few code from existing 200, then it will fail. So you will see inconsistency in your results. See, now let us say I had written some piece of automation script. I pushed that code to master, but I have not verified correctly my code is working or not. But I pushed that to master. Now, if it is taking latest code from master and if it is running on cloud, it will show failures. Let us say yesterday we got 200 passed, but today, right, we got only 180 passed because it is due to my new changes that I push it to my remote. So whatever the CI job that is running on your daily basis, right, it should not deviate from your new code that is written. So if it should not deviate means I should make sure that my code is properly working. So I can't directly push my code to master branch. What we'll do is we'll create separate branch. We'll do our changes. We'll put our code in that particular branch. That should be reviewed by at least 2 persons in our team. They should confirm that this code is correct and it will work. Then only it will be merged to master. So master code is nothing but your main code which will be executed as part of our daily CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous testing. See, it's very simple. Continuous integration means every day you're writing new scripts. You're integrating that with your actual test scripts. That is continuous integration. If I say continuous testing, means every day you're running your test cases and you're checking whether they are properly working on your application or not. So that part, continuously integrating and continuously testing on daily basis. That cycle is nothing but what we actually call it as CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous integration and continuous testing. Is this part clear? So now you need to understand. Now you need to understand what is branching. Okay. Now very simple. It's very simple. See, now this is your remote and this is your local. This is your local. Now in local, right, you created one local repository. You created one in your mission, right? You had created one local repository. So this is your local and this is nothing but your remote. And this is nothing but your remote mission where it is nothing but GitHub and where you had created one repository. You had created one repository. What is that repository name? That repository name is QWE123. QWE123. And here, right, you have master branch. This is your master branch. This is your master branch. Now, when I clone this particular remote to my local, what happens? It will bring the same repository to my local machine. If I'm doing clone means what it is doing? It is bringing the same copy to my local machine. Now, whenever you're creating a branch, you can do that in two ways. One way is you can create a branch in local and you can push that branch to remote. Okay, but that is not the right way. You should create a branch in remote and then bring that branch to local. That is the right perspective. Because always you should always take your remote as your reference. And what changes you are doing, that you do it in your local. You should do that in your local. So when you go through videos and tutorials, right, they will say, how do we create a branch in local and push that to remote? But you should not follow that perspective. You should always create a branch in remote and you should bring that to local and then you can work on that particular branch. So now my next step here is, how do we create a branch? How do we create a branch? Now my next step is, you need to understand, how do we create a branch? How do we create a branch? Okay, I can, as I said, right, I can create the branch in local or else I can create that particular branch in remote. We have two ways to do it. You can create that particular branch in local and as well as you can also create that particular branch in remote. We are going to follow the remote procedure to create a branch. So how do we create means it is very simple. If you go to your remote repository, you will have a link called, if you see here, right, this is nothing but your remote repository. If you click on your remote repository, you will have, okay, where is that? We will have an option called branch. See here you have a branch. If you click on it, it redirects to branch. See where you will see, this is your remote repository. You will see here a branch. If you see here, right, this is nothing but your branch option. Can you see that? You can see that particular branch. Now you directly click on to that particular branch. It will redirect to branch. How many branches are there? Only one, which is master. Now I need to create a new branch. Let us say I want to create a branch with a name called B1. See, for your practice, you can give any name, but in your real practice, right, every requirement will have some number. I need to write requirement 2321. That is nothing but the story which has been assigned to you on which you are working. You need to give the same number for your branch. But for your practice, right, it is not required to use that naming convention. I am just creating a branch with a name called B1. And here, right, I'm telling that I want to create a branch on master. I want to create a branch on master. It means I want to create a branch B1 and that should have the same code that is present in master. Means if I'm saying that I'm creating a branch, I want to create that branch on master means I should create a branch with a name called B1 and the code of that particular branch should be same code that what it is present in your master. So now if you click on create a branch, it will be created. Now see, if you see, right, I have B1 branch and I have master branch. Now what you need to do here is, now I got B1 branch, right? Now if you go to your local, now I had done some change in remote. Now I need to bring that change to local. What is the command? Git pull. So I need to say git pull. So what happens? Whatever the branch that you had created in remote, Now you will get that branch to your local. You will get that branch to your local. Now in local, right, how many branches you have? Master and B1. Master and B1. Now the next command is, you can create multiple branches. Now, if you want to quickly check in which branch you are currently in your local, we need to use command called git branch. In which branch I am? Master. In which branch I am? Master. Now in my local, I also have a branch called B1, right? Now I need to switch from master to B1. For that, right, I need to use command called checkout B1. Now it is showing into which branch I am now. B1. Now again, I want to switch back to master. Now which branch I am? Master. Now again, I want to switch to B1. I am into B1 branch. I am into B1 branch. It means every resource in your team, if they want to work on some new scripts, they need to create their own branch and they need to bring that branch to local. They need to switch to that particular branch and they need to add their code only in that particular branch. In your real practice, right, you don't have access to push your code directly to master. See, normally when we initially practice, right, we directly push our code to master. But in real practice, right, you don't have access to directly push your code to master. Okay, even if you try to push, right, it will say you can't push your code to master. You will get an error. You need to create a branch. In that branch, you need to add your code. And then you need to push that code to remote. And then you need to get it reviewed by at least 2 team members from your team. Then only it will be merged to master. Merged means then only that code will be merged to master. So now the exercise that what we are going to do here is, so it's very simple. Now what I had done here is I had created a remote. I had created a branch. I had created a branch with B1 in remote. Okay, in remote. If I want to bring that branch to my local, what I need to do? I need to use git pull. If I need to switch from one branch to another, what I need to do? I have a command called git check out, and here you need to give that branch name, and here I need to give that branch name because this is a parameter, right? I'm giving that in open less than or greater than symbol. It means whatever the branch you want to switch, right? You need to use that branch name to switch. So here, right, we are actually practicing on branches. In the same way, I don't have any limit. See, for example, in my remote, right? For example, if I want to create another branch, I can click on new branch, and I'm creating another branch with a name called B2. Okay, and in the same way, if I want to create another branch, I'm creating another branch. I'm creating a branch with a name called B3. So I can create multiple branches in my remote. Now, if you go back to your local, if I want whatever the branches that I had created in remote to my local, what I need to do? I need to write git pull. So what it will do? It will bring all the new branches that are created in my remote to my local. Now, if I want to switch to branch 2, so I need to write git checkout B2. See, now I am into which branch? You can simply say git branch, means it will show you into which branch you are. B2. Now I want to check out to B3. Now again, if I say git branch, into which branch I am? B3. If I want to switch back to master branch, okay, now in which branch I am? I am into master. It's like every resource, whenever you have been provided with some story or requirement, right? You need to create a branch, and in that branch, you need to do your changes. Now let us assume that now you need to understand why we need branching. Okay, so now if you go here, right? Okay, now let us say this is master branch. Okay. Now I am creating a branch with a name called B1. Now I have created a branch with a name called B1. Now if I say, now if I pull right, now what happens? This code you will get into your local branch. Now this code you will get into your local branch. Now what it is? Again, I have branch 1 and master branch in my local. Now I switch it to B1. Now I switch it to B1. Initially, right, whatever the code that you have in master is same as the code that is present in B1. Now what I am doing here is I am going to my Git repository and I am saying Git checkout. I am saying Git checkout B1. I switch it to this particular branch. Okay, now go back to your repository where you had created, right? This is your repository. Now what you can do here is you can, if you want to quickly, speedily do your changes, right? You download VS Code. You can download VS Code. So it is very simple. Just to type VS Code, you will get VS Code. It is very simple. Just to type VS Code, you will get VS. Okay, it's like you just type VS Code. It's like VS Code. You will get VS Code. Now click on to that particular VS Code. You can click on download for Windows. It will download a .exe file. Double click on it. Next. Don't change any options. That will be installed on your machine. Now once you install it, if I want to open, if you type VS Code, okay, if you type VS Code, you will get this option. Open it. It will open VS Code on your machine. This is your VS Code. Now whatever the repo that you are working, right, that is nothing but this folder, right? This folder. Now I need to open this particular folder. Copy this. Okay, or else just go here and open that particular folder and copy this path and go back to your VS Code and go back to your VS Code and click on, here you'll have an option called File, Open Folder, and give here this path. And give here this path. And click on. Now if you see, right, you have new folder. This is your folder name. And you have two files, sample1 and sample2. If I want to add another file, I can simply say, just select, copy it, and then you can simply say copy paste, or else you can create sample sample13.txt and you can add some data to it. Now I have added a new file. But into which branch I am? B1. I am into branch B1. Now if I say git branch, into which branch I am? I am into B1 branch. Now if I say git add star, what happens? It means whatever the new file that I have added, right? I can simply say git status. So whatever the new file that I have added, right? I want to push that code to remote. So first I have added it. Then what I am doing? I need to commit it. So I am committing it. Let us say it is for B1 branch. I am saying that B1 new file. Okay. If I want to push that code to remote, what I need to do? Git first add, then commit. Then what is the third command? Push. So you need to write push. So in your local B1 too, it will push that code to your remote B1. It is going to push your code from local B1 to remote B1. So now if you go to your remote, and if you see your code, so this is your code, right? Now first I am checking in my branch, master branch. If you go to folder, how many files are there? Only 2. But I pushed one file from local to remote, right? Into which branch I pushed it? So change this branch here to B1. Now you can see 3 files. It means your code is only in B1. It was not updated to your master. master. Okay. Are you getting me or not? Means it's like whatever the new code that we'll write, right? We need to create a new branch. We need to bring that branch to a local. We need to switch to that particular branch and we need to do the changes. And again, we need to push back those changes to remote. Again, you need to push back those changes to remote. So in your branch, your code is present in your branch. Your code is present in your branch. In the same way, now what I am doing is, in my local, right, again, I am switching back git checkout. Okay, git checkout. I'm switching to B2 branch. I'm switching to B2 branch. Now I'm into B2 branch. Now if you go here, how many files are there in B2? 2. I'm adding another new file with name called sample14.txt. 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 And I'm adding some text here. And I'm adding some text here. And I'm adding some text here. Now, into which branch I am? So you can check if you type git branch, right? Into which branch I am? Into which branch I am? B2. Now if I say git status in B2, what happens? Oh, sorry. I need to run only git status. If you run git status, there is a new file that got added. Now, if I need to push that to remote, what I need to do? I need to first add. So I'm adding star, and then I need to commit. But here, right, I'm saying that this is for B2 branch. So I'm saying B2 new file, and then I'm saying git push. So what happens? This file will be moved to B2 branch from local to remote. So if you go to remote and if you see in B2, you will see 1.4 file. If you see in B1, you will see 1.3 file because both are two different changes. Means let us say I am a resource, I am working on login and I am working on registration. My code which is relevant to login is present in B1 branch. My code which is relevant to registration is present in B2 branch. Okay, now if I want to merge that to master, if I want to bring that code to master, I need to raise a PR. I need to raise a PR. I need to raise a PR. Means peer review. PR means peer review. Means I need to send it for review. So my team members can review it and they can confirm your code is working fine. Then only I can merge that code to master. Then only I can merge that particular code to master. So normally, right, when you attend any interview, right, they will ask you, what is your PR process? What is your PR process? What is your PR process? So very simple. So whenever I am going to work on some new requirement, okay, whenever we are going to work on new requirement, we need to create a new branch. We need to create a new branch with requirement ID, with requirement ID. Now here, right, in your example, right, what you are creating as B1, B2, B3 are nothing but your requirement IDs, And then we need to create a new branch in remote, okay, in remote with your requirement ID. And then the second step is we need to sync, or else we need to pull those branches to local repo. The second step is we need to bring those branches to your local repository. Now I need to switch to the branch that I created. How do we switch? We need to use git checkout, and here you need to write branch name, and here you need to write branch name. If I need to pull that code, what is the command? I need to use git pull. If I need to create a new branch, I need to navigate to branches I need to navigate to branches and I need to click on new branch. I need to click on new branch and I need to give branch name and from which branch I want to create. From which branch I want to create. See, for example, I want to create a branch on master. It means I need to select master. So the branch that what you are creating, right, that will be created on your master branch. That will be created on your master branch. That will be created on your master branch. Is this one clear? That will be created on your master branch. Okay, now once we pull that to local using git pull, and then if you switch to that particular branch, then we need to do our changes. Then we need to do our changes to the code in that particular branch. In that particular branch. Then I need to push my branch code from local to remote. Push my branch code from my local to remote. Then I need to push my branch code from my local to remote. Then I need to push my branch code from my local to remote. Then I need to push my branch code from my local to remote. And then I need to raise PR. I need to raise PR. And when I'm raising PR, right, it should be assigned to 2 members in my team for approval and review. For review and approval. For review and approval. And for review and approval. And then if two members has approved, then we will get a merge access. Then we will get a merge access. Then our code in branch should be merged with master branch. It means now your branch code will be in master branch. Is this part clear? See, now very simple. Now I pushed my code, right? Now I have pushed my code to remote, B1 and B2. Okay. Now what I need to do? I need to raise PR. So now if you go to your remote, okay. If you go to your remote, okay, now what you need to do, you need to go to your remote. Now if you go to your remote, right, if you refresh it, if you go to your repository QWE123, here you will have an option called pull request. See, here we have an option called pull request. If you click on pull request, you will be into this particular page. See, it is saying B1 had recent pushes 10 minutes ago. Do you want to compare and raise a pull request? Do you want to compare and raise a pull request? So if you click on it, right, it will redirect to this particular screen. Now you can add here what changes that you have done. Let us say, I can say a new file added to B1 branch. New file added to B1 branch. Now if you see right here, we have a section called reviewers. Here we have a section called reviewers. Here you can assign your team members names. For example, in your team, right? See, in your organization, right? Everybody will have some email with your organization. Let us say I'm working for XYZ. So let us say I will say Suman at the rate of XYZ, Ravi at the rate of XYZ.com. You will have an email ID, right? At the rate of XYZ.com with the domain, right? So you need to make sure that you need to make sure that you're adding reviewers. See here as of now, it is like a free version I'm using, right? No users has been configured here. But you can give your email here. Let us say if I want to add my reviewer as, if you type first three letters, right, you will automatically get that resource email ID here. You need to add that email ID here. So in this way, right, you need to add at least two resources. At least two resources. Now, once you add these two resources, and if you click on create pull request, if you click on create pull request, now PR will be raised. Every pull request will have some unique number. So if you see, right, what is this pull request number? This is first pull request. So it is showing it as 1. It is showing it as 1. And this pull request, you need to send to your team members. You need to send it to your team members. They will go and check that pull request. Now they will open that pull request. Now once they open it, right, they will see this option called files changed. If you click on files changed, you can see this is nothing but your previous code. This is nothing but the new code that has been written in that particular branch. If you see that there is nothing that is actually affecting your existing code, and whatever the code that he has written, it was correct, then he will click on review changes and approve it. See, normally here we don't have approve button because we are using free version. But normally when you review it and when you click on approve it, right, or else let us say first step, I'm reviewing his code. I'm saying that review code changes, and I'm saying submit review. Okay, now it got commented. Now again I'm saying review changes. Now let us say I'm saying some test review. Means it is like they are reviewing and giving some comments to that particular code. Submit review. Now you have submitted that particular review. Now you have submitted that particular review. So whatever the code that we had written, right, based upon that code, right, they can give comments. Let us say in second line, if they think that you need to add comments, they can start it. In the same way, for third line, they can say you can use already existing code, and they can submit it. In this way, right, they can add comments to your code, whatever the code that you had newly written. And they can say finish your review. Okay, and I'm saying submit review. Means to whom you sent, right, they will review and they will submit it. Now again, you need to go and you need to fix that, what they have added comments. If they had said, please add comments, you need to add comments. And if they say, we already have this code, you had again rewritten as duplicate. So instead of that, right, you can use the existing code. You need to do the changes. And then you should say, if you resolved it, right, you should say resolved. And you should add your comments, resolved. And in the same way, you should say resolved. And then you should add your comment, that whatever that you had resolved as part of his comment. It means, see, whatever comment he is giving it, right, it may be a valid or invalid. If it is a valid review, right, you will do those changes to your code. If it is an invalid, right, you can say this cannot be done in our code changes. And you need to submit it. So once you submit it, right, then they will approve it. Then they will get a button called approve, that whatever the code changes that you have done, right, it was correct, so you can approve it. Then he will check your comments and he will approve it. Once if they approve it, right, then you will get this button merge pull request. See, normally I am using free version, so it was directly enabled. See, in your real practice, right, they will write a rule. Till two members approved it, you will not see this merge pull request button. At least two members need to review your code and they should approve it, that this code is correct. We can merge that to master. If 2 members have approved it, then only you will get this button. Once you get this button, right, if you click on this and if you click on confirm merge, now your latest code from B1 will be merged with master. Now your latest code from B1 will be merged with master. So they will ask you to explain your pull request. They will ask you to explain your pull request process. Pull request process. PR process means pull request process. What for you will use this pull request means to get it reviewed by your team members. To get it reviewed by your team members. So whenever you are writing a new code, that you should send as a PR to at least 2 members in your team. They should review it and approve it. Then only you can merge that to your master branch. Then only you can merge that to your master branch. Is this what clear? Now once it got approved, right? Now if you see, now if you go back and if you see in your Git repository, now if you go back and if you see in your Git repository under to master, right? Now you can see sample 1.3 got added, which was in B1. I added that into B1 branch, right? But now it was showing it in master branch. In the same way, for example, I had also done code changes to B3, right? Now again, I want to compare B2 and I'm raising a pull request. Now this will be sent to 2 of your peers. Okay, now this will be sent to your 2 of your peers. Now they will review it and then you need to fix those comments and then they will approve it and then you will get this button. Then you click on merge, confirm merge. Then this code will be again merged to your master branch. See now if you see, right, how many you have? 4. How many you have? 4. See now this is your remote. So this is your remote. Now I want to bring this code to my local. Now what I need to do? Now I need to bring this particular code to local. So what I need to do? I need to write first git checkout and I need to go to master. Because all these branches are created on master. So I need to first go to master and then I need to write git pull. I need to write git pull. Then all the changes that whatever that you have done in those branches, right? Everything will be brought to your local. Everything will be brought to your local. Now where you have done your changes? In B1 and B2. In B1 and B2. Now I need to work on third feature. I need to work on third feature, which is nothing but B3. Which is nothing but B3. Now if I go to git branch. Okay, I am into master, right? Now I am into master, right? Now you go to VS Code and if you see how many files you have? 4. Now I am switching it to git checkout B3. Git checkout B3. Now if you go to VS Code, how many files you have? Means in B3 you have only 2 files. In master, how many you have? 4. Now I need to bring my master code to B3. I have 2 additional files in master. I need to bring that code to B3. Then only I can add new changes, right? Because my actual code is present in my master. So if I need to do that, right, here you need to go to B3 and you should say git merge master. What it means? Git merge master. It means, see for example, I have latest code in master. I want to bring this code to B2. First I need to switch my branch to B2. Now I am here. Now I am saying git merge master. So it will bring all the code from master to your B2. So if you see here, right, I have done git merge master. Now into which branch I am? Now if you go and if you see here, right, how many files are there? Because I got latest code from master to B3. But if you go and if you see in remote, what code is present in B3? Only 2. In my local, how many I have? I want to push from my local to remote now. Now what I need to do? You can't directly push, right? You need to first add, commit and push. So you need to write git add star. Git commit -m. I am saying that what now merged with master. Okay, and then I am saying that merged with master. And then I am saying that git push. Then I am saying that git push. Now what happens? It has pushed my local B3 to remote B3. Now if you go here and if you refresh it, how many files are there in your B3 branch? 4. Now from local again you brought that code to remote. Again you brought that particular code to remote. Is this part clear or any questions on it? Okay. So see, if I need to list them at a high level, so these are like basic commands you need to remember. Okay, these are like basic commands that what you need to remember, like git, whatever they will ask you what commands that you actually use as part of your real practice. Then you should say first one is a clone. Then the first one is nothing but clone. Okay, CLONE clone, and then it is init, and then it is like if I want to pull my code, I need to use pull. If I need to add my code, I need to add, I need to commit, and I need to push. If I need to check which branch I am, I need to use a branch. If I need to check the status of my files, I need to use a status. If I need to check what lines got changed in that particular file, I need to use the diff. If I want to switch from one branch to another branch, I need to use checkout. I need to use checkout. I need to use checkout. Okay. And I need to use checkout. Okay. And I have a command called log. What for you will use log? To get all your commits and commit IDs. To get all your commits and commit IDs. Is this part clear? Now, the second one is like you need to use reset and revert. Reset and revert. Reset and revert. And then you need to understand what is rebase. What is fetch. See, what is rebase and what is fetch. What is fetch. And you should be understanding what is PR process. What is PR process. So they will ask you what is your PR process, means you should tell that whenever I get a new requirement, I'll create a new branch and I'll bring that branch to my local and I'll do my changes. I'll push my code to remote. I will raise a PR, means pull request, and I will send it to my team members. At least 2 approvals should be done on that PR. Then only I can merge that to my master. I can merge that to my master. Is this part clear? See, some people say that as PR process, or else some people say branching strategy. They can ask you the same as branching strategy. They can ask you what is your branching strategy or what is your PR process. Then you should be explaining the same. Branching strategy means how you create branches and how you are merging it to your main or master branch. Main or master branch. See, very simple. Now, the next one is a reset, right? See, reset is like, see, for example, I have done some changes here. I removed it, okay, and I have done some changes in this particular file, okay. Now, you go to your git bash and you type here as git status. Git status. Now, you see this file got modified. Now this file got modified. Okay. Now I have done this file modifications, right? Now let us say I am just adding this as to quickly understand, right? I am putting test 999 under to this particular file. I am putting test 99 under to this particular file. Now again, if you go back and if you check git status, it is showing that this file got changed. Now in this file, right, if I want to check what lines got changed, I need to copy it. I need to use git diff and I need to give here this command as paste. So this is the line that got changed. And I have added new code, which is nothing but that 3 lines, last 3 lines which are showing in green, right? It was the new code. And red line means I have removed it. I have removed it. Now, if I need to push this code to remote, what I need to do? I need to add git add and I'm saying that star and I'm saying that star. Now if I check git status, what happens? The red color has been converted to green. Now it was staged. I wrongly staged it. I don't want to push these changes to my remote, but I wrongly moved from unstaged to staged. Again, I need to bring back. Again, I need to bring back. Then we actually use this restore. Then we actually use this restore. How do we restore means? See this command git. See here itself you will get it. Git restore. From stage to again you want to make it as unstage. Then what you need to use? Git restore. See very simple here. I need to type here git restore hyphen staged staged and I need to give that particular file which again I want to bring back to unstaged, which is nothing but in red color, So again if you go and if you check status, what happened? That file, it was previously staged. Now again I brought it to unstaged. For bringing back to unstaged, right, we actually use restore. Is this part clear? We actually use restore. Now let us say I have done git add star. Now if you see right git status, what happened? It got into green. Now I am committing it. Git commit -m and I am saying that, let us say I am saying that 4 names I am giving my commit message. Now it got committed. Now if I say git log, what happens? It will show me the commit ID for which I have done that particular commit. Now if I want to revert it, now I want to reset it. Now again copy it, go back and I can simply say here, git reset and you can give it your commit ID. What happens? Now again if you see git status. Okay, then I need to use git revert. and that commit ID. Now what it is showing? It is again reverting that particular commit which you wrongly committed it, again you want to revert it back. Okay, so again I can say column WQ. It came out. Now again if I check git status, there is something it is git. Okay, anyway, let us say git status. Your branch is a head of branch B3 by 2 commits. Nothing to commit. It means it again came back. Whatever, there is nothing to commit. See, do you see any changes which I have done previously? Custom 99 I have added, right? It has reverted those changes. So this is also important. For example, you wrongly moved from unstaged to stage. Again, you need to bring back to unstage. What you will do? Restore. Now let us say you want to remove the changes itself, what you had done as part of that particular commit. Then what you can do? You can use revert. And another important thing here is, see, people will make you to confuse by telling you on this switch, fetch. By telling you on this particular fetch. See, it is like, what is fetch? What is fetch means, see, I have done some changes in remote. I want to bring those changes to local. Then I will use git fetch. But I want to bring those changes to local and that changes should be applied to my code. Means it should be merged to my code. Then I need to use git pull. See, both are different. It's like, see, I have local repository, I have remote repository. I want to only bring changes to my local. I will use fetch. I want to bring these changes and I want to merge that to my branch, what I am using. Then only you can see code, right? If it has not merged, right, you can't see those changes. You can bring these changes from remote to local. But if you merge it, then only you can see that files got changed. This code has been applied on these files. It means if I say fetch means it is bringing from remote to local, but it is not merging. If I say pull means it is nothing but fetch plus merge. It is nothing but fetch plus merge. That is the reason in real practice, right? We don't use fetch. We'll say git pull because it will pull my code and merge it. It will fetch my code and merge it. Don't confuse. See, people say in your tutorials, right? If you want to bring the latest code from remote to local, they will say fetch. It will bring that code. But if I need to merge, I need to use pull. Then only it will bring and it will merge your code to your current branch. That is the reason in your real practice, right? We normally use git pull, not fetch. Not fetch. Because I want to bring from remote to local and that code should be merged with my current branch. With my current branch. So we will use git pull. This is like, you can simply say it is like optional. It is not required. You need to actually use git pull. But they will ask you in interview, what is the difference between fetch and pull? Fetch means it will only fetch that data. If it fetches and merges it into your data, right, then it is pull. Fetch plus merge is nothing but pull. Fetch plus merge is nothing but pull. Now, one important concept, we have a concept called rebase. We have a concept called rebase. Okay. Now, what is rebase? See, I'll tell you with an example. Anyway, now you guys got an idea, right? How to push my code from remote to local, local to remote, or remote or local to remote, or remote to local, creating a branch, adding your code, pushing that code, writing PR, and merging that to your master. Now this part, right, every day we'll do it. Now what is rebase? Now to understand that, right, let me just explain that in a notepad. Now let me just explain that in a notepad. See, it is very simple. The concept of rebase is, now let us say I have a branch with a name called master. Okay. Now on that, right, I have done some commit. That commit is A. Okay. That commit is A. Now I have done another commit. That commit is B. Means second time I have done some changes. Okay. Now I have done some changes. That commit is C. That commit is C. Now on this, right, I am creating a branch. On this, right, I am creating a branch. What is that branch? That branch name is, let us say, the branch name is B1. Now this will also have code that has been written on A and B and as well as C, because this branch I am creating it on master. I am creating it on master. And on this code, right, I am doing some commits. I had done D, I had done E, means on ABC, right, I have done few changes, which is nothing but D and as well as E. Now, when I am doing these changes, right, some other resource, some other team member has also done some changes in your master branch. Now, let us say that is F and as well as G. They have done some changes. Now, if I go to my branch B1 and if I call git rebase, if I switch to branch B1 and if I say git rebase, now the output of that particular branch B1 will be, now the output of that particular branch B1 will be, first what we have, this one, right? So you will have these changes. And then your changes will be applied onto that particular branch. What it means now? It means you are rebasing it with your master. It means in master, whatever the code that you have in master, right? Part of that particular code is already present in your branch. Now there are few changes in your master branch. Now I want to add some changes. But before adding my changes, right, I want to make sure my current branch should be rebased with the master. Means I should get again all the latest code from master. And for that code, I need to add my changes. That is nothing but what we actually call it as rebase. What we actually call it as rebase. So you need to remember this example. See, initially in my master I have only ABC code. I had created a branch, so in my branch also I have ABC code. Now in master as well, some other members have added new code, F and G. In my local as well, I have added new code, D and E. But if I do V1 rebasing with master, now that should be in this format. First it will take complete master and then it will add your changes to that particular master. That is what we call it as rebase. That is what we call it as rebase. Is this part clear? So this is about your Git and as well as GitHub. Git and as well as GitHub. Now whatever the commands that we had seen, right? Those commands you need to practice it. Then only you will understand it. Then only you will understand it. In your interview, right, they will ask you what is Git, what is GitHub, what is remote repository, what is local Git repository, how do we create a local Git repository, Git init. How do we create a branch? You can create a branch in remote by selecting create a new branch. And if you want to bring that branch to local, if I want to push my local to remote, add, commit and push it. Now they will ask you what represents add, what represents commit, what represents push. Add means you are moving your file from unstaged to staged. If I say commit means you are adding a unique ID or message to that particular commit. If I say push means that code will be pushed from local to remote. That code will be pushed from local to remote. They will ask you what are tracked and untracked files. Untracked means which are new to that particular folder. Tracked means already that file is present, you have done some changes. It's like modified or deleted. Untracked means those are new files to that particular project. Those are new files to that particular project. Now they will ask you what are staged and unstaged. Unstaged means which will be shown in red. Staged means which will be shown in green. What happens? Committed files which will be shown in white. Which will be shown in white. How do we switch from one branch to another branch? Check out. Check out. Now let us say I have a branch called master. I have a branch called B3. In master, right, there is some new code which is present. Now I want to bring this code to B3 branch. How do we do it? We have two ways. One way is you can say rebase, git rebase. Second way is you can say git merge master. So it will bring the complete code of master to your B3 branch. Your B3 branch. Now they will ask you what is the difference between clone and pull. Clone means it is copying complete remote code to your local. Pull means it is getting latest code from your remote to local. Means a delta. The new change it is bringing if it is pull. If it is clone means it will copy the complete code of your remote to your local. To your local. What is merge? See, let us say 1, 2, 3, 4 is going in this line. 6, 7 I merged it. So what happens? It contains 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6 and 7. Means combining is nothing but what we actually call it as merge. What we actually call it as merge. And what for we will use log to check your commit IDs. Okay. And what for you will use restore. If you want to move from staged to unstaged. If I use revert. If you want to revert your changes, whatever the changes that you had done, if you want to revert your changes, what you need to do? Use revert. If I say rebase means, it is rebasing the latest code from master and adding your commits. And adding your, means it is pulling latest code from master and adding your commits. Is nothing but what we are actually calling it as rebase. What we are actually calling it as rebase. So any questions? See, anyway, I will give you one, see, you can reach your IT coordinator who has conducted this, workshop, who sent you that meeting details, right? If you reach him, right, he will send you one notes and practice material. So you need to follow that material and practice the same on your systems. Okay. See, I may add few interview questions. You should also make sure that you are able to answer those interview questions when they are asking on Git. When they are asking on Git. Is this part clear? Any questions between people who are in online, offline? If you are good, right, then I think so, we can wind up. Okay. See, anyway, next week also we may have another workshop on Maven or on build tools or on some framework that will be posted by your IT coordinator. He will coordinate you. Okay, from now, right, next 6 weeks, you will have workshops. You will have workshops. See, if there is any difficulty, right, we can attend this online. We can make this only workshops as online. You can attend from a link from your home, but please make sure don't miss these workshops. If you want, right, if you don't need an offline, right, we can continue it as an online. They will give you the link, you can join and you can attend. Is this part clear? Anyway, the details, right, I'll post you. If there is something, right, if I got information, then I'll post you. So next workshop, right, we may do it on K6 or Playwright or Robot Framework. We have 3. One is K6, Playwright and Robot Framework that we will do in our upcoming weeks. And what we are going to pick, right, that will be posted by your NareshIT coordinators. Is this part clear? Any questions on today's session? So see, it's very simple. See, I know what is wrong and what is right. So I will do correct only. But once you start practicing it on your mission, right, then you will understand that how you need to remember that particular flow. Please practice it by collecting the material and as well as practice notes. Thank you for today. Tomorrow we don't have session. Next class is on Tuesday. Done. Thank you guys.